This episode of Unboxed was made possible thanks to viewers like you. Thank you. Generations was probably one of the best Sonic games we've had in a while, so it's good to see Sega actually sticking with a working formula, for once. Sonic Forces looks to continue what Generations started, but sadly it just doesn't seem to pull it off as well. The game begins with Eggman recruiting a league of memorable baddies, and Zavok, and a new Ultra enemy called Infinite that seemingly ends Sonic, by way of text screen, leaving his friends to pick up the pieces. Wow. Sonic's gone? That's a real game changer. I guess it's time for one of his friends to step up and take the role as new— I'm just kidding, he's alive and comes back in the first hour. But seriously, Sega, text boxes? Could you think of a less lazy way to transition than fade to black and show text? Plus it definitely leaves a lot of unanswered questions. Of course, the biggest part of Forces is the original character creation. Now, if you think this means Sonic Forces is going to become DeviantArt's Armored Wet Dream, I'm sorry to say that creation options are so restricted it almost feels pointless. And you already get fancy items to deck your character in by unlocking them in-game. So, sadly, it's not exactly possible to finally have Sonic alongside his, father? Brother, I don't know, I don't read that garbage! So instead, I create the next best thing. A red wolf who looks like he's auditioning to be the newest member of the S.h.i.e.L.D. Original character, don't steal! So with Sonic and your original character, that just leaves Retro Sonic. And quite frankly, he is the weakest part of this whole game. Modern Sonic has his boost, homie attack, and can draw nearby rings. And your OC has a grappling hook, weapons from the Wisps, because they're never going away, and additional powers depending on what creature you pick, while Retro Sonic just wishes he was back in Mania. As for the story, it truly is eye-rolling bad, with your OC being treated as a lone survivor joining the resistance against Eggman, and by the end he becomes a Deus Ex Machina-like character who is just as powerful as Sonic. The rest of the crew are no help whatsoever, all the while gushy about friendship and teamwork like it's heroes all over again, with Tails refusing to be nothing more than a whiny little bitch, Shadow refusing to be nothing more than an emotionless tool, and Vector refusing to die horribly!
It's been generations since I've seen you!
Oh, fuck you! There are some positives though, firstly getting rid of not just lives, but the whole one hit you lose all your rings bit. Instead only losing a certain amount. This allows you much more ease, and in terms of controlling Sonic, there's no more needless sliding, and drifting is pretty much handled automatically, so you aren't flying off the track like crazy. That doesn't change the fact the game is criminally short. I finished it on the day I bought it, and I had to step out for a few hours to do other things. And there is some replay in getting a higher ranking and unlocking more outfits, but in terms of Sonic bullshit, this is probably the least I've had to ingest in a while. I mean, there are still things that frustrate me, like the main villain Infinite's backstory is completely weak, or how we saw Chaos, but never got to fight him. Of course, fighting him would bring Sega dangerously close to Adventures 3, and we can't have that now, can we? Even if it does make fans happy. Seriously, they actually said that. A few years ago, I made the statement that Sonic will never work properly in 3D. Well, I admit I was wrong. I should have said Sega refuses to make Sonic work properly in 3D. Like I said earlier, this is a company who knows its fans want a sequel to their successful open-style Sonic games, but feel it's not the right path for the series. Except not even they seem to know the right path. Whether it be Colors, Unleashed, Lost World, or the reboot we don't talk about, Sega has never been able to let an idea simmer and take effect, reinventing the wheel every time. Yet, look at the fan game Sonic Utopia. Imagine a true open roam 3D Sonic game with branching paths and secrets to uncover, and with Sega at least willing to work with fan game creators. Take a fucking hint, Nintendo! I would rather play something like this than have Sonic fight the Deadly Six again. Or even better, give Sonic a break. Put him on ice for 2 or 3 years. I can use this image again if it means giving you a bloody clue. As which version you pick, while it seems the PC version may need some work, I played on the Switch, and it ran fairly well. Although the cutscenes seem to have some compression issues that make it look like it went through Windows Movie Maker. But hey, maybe it's the best the Switch can do. Or is it? I can't believe I get to say the Switch is doomed and it be a positive! Face it, there are some games out there these days that even we Switch owners knew would be too ambitious to get on the system. And this surely would have been on the top of the list. So I have to give major applause to id Software and Panic Button for pulling off the impossible. For a more in-depth review of Doom, just click the icon up here to see my review from last year. But now, let's check out Doom on the Nintendo. Man! Damn! The cartridge isn't red. Seriously, the one thing I wanted them to do. You know, I've never actually tried it, but let's get out of the way first. To fit on the Switch, Doom is at 30 frames per second, and there's a serious drop in quality compared to other consoles. But you would hardly know it, as I was plowing through demons and beating them death with their own leg. Panic Button have been able to keep that fast-paced, brutal action on a tiny little cartridge. Doom does support Joy-Cons, but thankfully the motion controls are limited to an additional input for glory kills. But without doubt, the best way to play is with the Pro Controller. Multiplayer is included but requires an almost 9GB additional download, but unfortunately, SnapMap didn't make the cut. No big loss really. However, the multiplayer, despite having a large variety of modes, really just boils down to deathmatch, and just feels like an afterthought. Despite setbacks visually, Doom on Nintendo Switch is a major triumph. Just the fact we're able to play Doom on a handheld should earn Panic Button a lot of praise. And they aren't stopping, as they're also bringing Unreal Engine 3 and Rocket League to the Switch. All this just makes me want to tell all those third-party devs who are going to ignore Switch just like Wii U, step your goddamn game up. See you all next time.